Hi all, this is Sarika Tulsiani and I would like to welcome all of you in today's session. Today, हम लोग क्या करने वाले हैं? We are going to discuss in brief the different sections, the number of questions which were asked in each section, and also the expected scores and the cutoffs for those scores. So without much further ado, let's start with the video. Now since CAT 22 is already over, there were small changes which were observed in the exam. Obviously, those of you who gave CAT already know. 24 questions आए थे VA-RC में से, out of which 16 questions were RC questions and 8 questions were VA questions. ठीक है? RC questions, there were 4 RCs, each comprising of 4 questions, so 16 questions. 8 questions on VA, उसमें से around 2 to 3 questions were on the essence of the passage. Then you had 2 to 3 questions on parajumbles and around 2 questions on a new category which was similar to a fill in the blank, but they had given you a statement and you had to fit in that statement in one of the correct blanks. They had given 4 blanks. Okay? So the difficulty level across slots 1, 2 and 3, the difficulty level observed was moderate for VA-RC. So a good student could manage around 2 RCs and some questions from VA. That would have been a very, very good strategy to crack VA section. Now, as far as DILR was concerned, again, there was a small surprise. The surprise was there were only 4 sets comprising of 5 questions each. The last year, like you know, कि कुछ sets में 4 questions आए थे, some sets had 6 questions. That was not the case this year. Across slots, in all the slots, there were only 4 sets and each set comprised of 5 questions. So the most important topics in all 3 slots which were observed was games and tournaments, because games and tournaments का एक set across slots आया था. Then quant based reasoning, ठीक है? Quant based reasoning, इसके ऊपर there was 1 set. Quant based reasoning means you had to calculate, do a lot of calculations, basically your addition subtraction only. But on the basis of that, you had to apply the logic and get to the answer. There was 1 set on network 3D, network-based diagram. So in the first slot, there was a railway track, just they had asked a set. In the second and third slot, also network-based diagram was observed. There was 1 more set, which was Venn diagrams. Now, the problem which happened with a lot of students was across slots, they couldn't identify that this was a Venn diagram set. For example, in slot 1, there was a set wherein they had said there are 15 girls and some boys. Then, you know, some girls are okay with 1-day tournaments, some boys are okay with 2-day tournaments, and so on and so forth. So that was a Venn diagram set. However, the difficulty level was high, but that was one of the topics observed. In slot 1, however, the surprising factor was that there was not a single traditional DI. So when I talk about traditional DI, I mean your line graph, bar graph, pie chart. There was nothing of that sort. However, in slot 2 and slot 3, there was 1 set on DI. I guess it was tables, bar graph, something of that sort. But in slot 2, there was 1 set on DI. In slot 3 also, there was 1 set, which was considered to be one of the most easiest sets to be solved. Now, as far as the QA was concerned, quantitative aptitude, across slots, the weightage was by and large this. So when I say this, arithmetic had 9 to 10 questions and arithmetic was observed to be on an easy to moderate level. ठीक है? Slot 1 में there were 4 questions on alligation mixtures, जिसमें से 2 were pretty manageable. They had questions on ratios, they had question on simple compound interest, they had questions on averages. So arithmetic across slots had a pretty high weightage. Geometry ranged from algebra ranged from 6 to 9 questions. So algebra included inequalities modulus, around 2 questions on inequalities modulus, 1 question on functions, a couple of questions on progressions. You know, there was a question in quadratic equations. So all these topics comprised karke, there were 6 to 9 questions across slots. Okay? Geometry comprised of 3 to 4 questions, but the good part was around 2 questions were very easy for geometry. So अगर आपने geometry अच्छे से किया होता, then 2 questions have been pretty much manageable. Number systems, 1 to 2 questions were observed, and modern maths, which comprised of PNC probability, 1-2 questions were observed. So quant, the section was considered to be moderate across slots. DILR was considered, however, to be difficult. Okay? But this has been a pattern over the years that DILR has always been a slot. It has always been a section which has been pretty much challenging compared to quant and VARC. पिछले साल भी यही था, उसके पहले भी यही था, and this year the same thing happened. And the most important thing is if you can choose the right set to be solved, which might become a difficult option. But अगर वो click हो गया कि which is the easiest set to be solved, which should be attempted, which might be lengthy, that judgment is extremely crucial. If you can judge and select the right sets, you can definitely cross the cutoff for DILR. Now coming to the scores and the cutoffs. So yes, these are the scores for different sections and the expected percentiles. After speaking to a lot of faculty members and a lot of students across slots, this is the score and the percentile I could conclude. So for example, for VARC, agar aapko 99 percentile if you want to cross, so you might have to score around 42 plus. Considering VARC was of a moderate level, it was not very difficult. The percentile the score will definitely shoot up for 99 percentile. So when I say 42 plus, I mean to say around 14 to 15 questions with good accuracy. LRDI 28 to 30 for 99 percentile, it will definitely make you cross 99 percentile. So this means around 9 to 10 questions with perfect accuracy. Quant was 33 to 36 because in some slots it was easy, some slots it was moderate. So easy to moderate ke liye 33 to 36 means 11 to 12 questions. And your total score would range around 97 to 102 for a 99 percentile. Similarly, for a 95 percentile, for you to cross VARC 33 questions, 33 marks, that means around 11 questions. Then 22 to 23 for LRDI. So 22 to 23 for LRDI, that means around 7 to 8 questions, which was manageable, which was not very difficult. 25 marks for quant. So 25 marks for quant means around 8 to 9 questions. And the total of around 70 to 73 would fetch you anywhere around 95 percentile. Then 27 to 28 VARC, 16 to 18 LRDI, 22 marks in quant. If you are in the bracket range of 57 to 60, you would definitely cross 90 percentile. Okay, 51 to 53 would fetch you anywhere around 85. 44 to 45 would make you cross 80 percentile. So even if you are in the range, even if the paper was not very good, but then if you could score anywhere around 51 to 53 marks out of 198, because it was a 198 mark paper, so 51 to 53 would fetch you around 85 percentile, and 85 will open a lot of options for you guys. If not the IIMs, if not some top colleges, but some good colleges with good track records will be open for you if you can score anywhere around 51 to 53 for 85 percentile. Okay? And for other category students, obviously the cutoffs will change. But then this is a generic view of how the scores in the percentile will look like. Okay, now if the paper was not very good and if you feel that you want to apply for other exams, if you've already filled forms, some forms are already over, some forms are just going to get over. So I would recommend if you are trying for NMAT, SNAP, please start preparing as soon as possible. ZAT today is the last day, 30th November. Today is the last day. If you feel that you can crack ZAT, which is on the lines of CAT, however, thoda changes hai. Decision making is one additional section which has been added. But I feel that if you found CAT to be decent enough, but for whatever reason, if it was not very good, ZAT can be a very, very good attempt because a lot of good colleges will be open via ZAT as well. So ZAT is open, IFT is open, TISNET is going to open. If you're interested in HR programs, then TISNET is a very good option. And within a few months, CMAT, CET bhi start ho jayega. So you can even try for those colleges. So you do those exams. So you don't need to worry. This was not the end journey. Obviously, this was the first exam for this academic year. You have many more exams coming up. So if not CAT, then at least this was a good learning experience. So learning from this, you can obviously perform better in other exams. So if you are targeting other exams, Make sure you fill the forms and start preparing as soon as possible. Okay? If you want to ask anything, if you want to share anything with respect to any other exam, or if you have any queries, feel free to mention them in the comment section below. I'll try to answer all your queries. So until the next video, thank you so much. Bye-bye. Take care.